Well, I'm excited to chat with you because you guys have some great new music out right now. Uh, there's so much going on. You have More Than This, the LP out right now. What kind of fan response have you been receiving so far to it?
Yeah, fantastic. It's been amazing. The response has been so great so far. I mean, we got a top 20 in the UK, which is an amazing feat for any indie band and any kind of band on any rock and roll band on an independent label, and an independent record label. So yeah, it's been great and overwhelming. But I think the real test is taking this out on tour. And we go on tour. I go out on tour tomorrow. Um, And yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens.
Let's start then from the beginning. Who are some of your musical influences?
Well, obviously John Lennon's sitting behind me. So the Beatles, 100% are kind of my main influence in regards to songwriting. I grew up listening to a lot of the Beatles through them being in the household. I think a lot of people in the world have grown up with that kind of thing at the feet. The Beatles just being there, being prominent throughout their lives. But I think also growing up, we bonded over our love of punk music and music with a message. So the Clash are a big heroes of mine. Um, the Jam, and then obviously like the Ramones, and obviously we're '90s kids, so Nirvana, Green Day, that kind of rock and roll, kind of punk music. Them are huge influences too.
My goodness. When it comes to your songwriting, do you all have a particular way of writing? Do you come up with lyrics, or does like a beat come to you in your head and then you voice note it? How does it tend to work when it comes to your songwriting process?
So there's many different ways actually. The old way of doing things and the way that I used to do things personally for the band was I would write at home on my own. Because I write so much, I'm always constantly writing, whether that be on my iPhone, writing lyrics, or if it's just a voice note with a melody on my phone. On my phone, I use it so much these days. It's so accessible to use an iPhone for writing. For writing, but I think I always used to write the song first, and then take it to the band and say, "Hey guys, I've got this song. Let's then make it our own." And everyone added their individual elements towards that song and made it a song by the Luka State. Um, but I feel like on this second record, the process was very different. We went into the studio, our writing space was sometimes hardly anything, and wrote from the ground up. And so sometimes it was just seeds, and we'd create music and we'd lock ourselves in the rehearsal room for 5 hours a day, and we weren't leaving until we came out with a piece of music. So that's why I think this album is a lot stronger than the first, because we found a new way to do things and a fresh approach of writing songs.
And the sound on this album is a little bit different because it encapsulates all different types of genres, I feel like, from alt rock to maybe a little pop in there. There's also punk and rock and roll. There's just such a wide variety, I think, when it comes to the songs you guys have for this LP.
Thank you. I think. Sorry, 1 second. I think that our influences are kind of a melting pot with regards to, like, we kind of in this with writing this record, we weren't listening to music, so to speak, when we went into the writing process. We kind of wanted to keep that on the outside. And because I feel that it's easy for the music you're listening to at that moment in time, to subconsciously come out through your writing. You know, I'm a bit like a sponge. If I listen to something, I might write a song that's the kind of in the same genre. So we tried to stay away from that. And what kind of came out of the sessions was just what came up out of the sessions. It was kind of just, it led itself, the path and the journey kind of led its own way. And we found that the songs were the songs that we came up with.
Well, the track you guys are first promoting right now is Losing Streak, which I think is a great starter for the album. Talk about the story behind it.
Yeah, that song is kind of, well, it is. It's a document. It's a documentation of my mental health and substance abuse, really, and using substances to get through tough times and get through difficult times. But also coming out the other side and realizing that maybe the way you're behaving is not necessarily the best way to do things. Um, and yeah, on this record, I wanted to talk about mental health. I think it's a very important thing to talk about in this day and age. I feel like mental health, there's a stigma that surrounds it that's very negative. I especially think that regarding men's mental health, that there's a stigma that men don't talk and we bottle things up. Maybe that's why we do turn to substances, you know, a bit more. Um, but also that speaks for everyone, though. It's not just myself and for males. I'm talking about everybody can suffer from poor mental health in their life and turn to the bottle or turn to substances or anything like that. So I wanted to sing about my journey on this track.
It's very important that many more people speak out about that because it's does have that stigma to it. And it's nice that when people bring it up, people do relate to it and they find opening up finally is like the crack that breaks everything open and everyone else feels then more comfortable talking about it. So I applaud your bravery for stepping up and talking about things that have been bothering you, things that have sort of been, I guess, haunting you in a way as well. So I'm sure plenty of people are going to open up more to you and reach out to you about the songs on this LP. I
Thank
know
you.
Losing Streak is pretty personal for you. Are there any other songs on the album that maybe hold a special significance for you or even maybe challenged you creatively?
I mean, the whole album is all about me. It's all about my experience from mental health, from being very poor to traveling through a journey with me of it getting better as the album goes on, the album progresses. At the beginning of the record, I didn't think it was a concept record, but the more I sit with it and the more I listen to it and the more I talk with it about it, it certainly is a concept record. You follow a young man's journey of mental health through negative to positive, as I just said. And kind of, I wanted to be the spokesperson to show that things can get better and that we can find our way out the other side, and life can become beautiful again.
Well said, well said. I'm sure that there are tough times for you when you were recording it. How did you shake off a long day of being in the studio?
We kind of just hang out. Um, we like watching films. I like watching films, or we go to a bar, or um, yeah. So yeah, we just kind of hang out and just switch off. Sometimes after being in the studio all day, though, you're just exhausted, so you just want to go home and just oh, this is me now. So yeah, it was. We kind of do that long. We do such long days that kind of switching off is essential, I think. Or sometimes you don't want to switch off and you just want to stay there forever. So you kind of spend the whole car journey talking about what you've just done for 9 hours. Imagine doing that if you went to just normal work for the day and talking about what I did for 9 hours. You go crazy. Musicians aren't right, honestly. We're a strange breed as musicians.
Which songs off the LP then are you excited to start performing here at the tour?
So losing streak's one of the main ones. I really feel creatively we really hit the high gears in that track. I think we really show our musicianship off. More than this, I can't wait to play that just because the message behind that song. But I mean, they're all as precious to me as the next one. So we're looking forward to getting out and just playing it and seeing what happens. That's the exciting thing. You don't know that it's unknown. So we'll see. We'll see.
Get a few tour dates under your belt, and then you'll see what truly, truly hits, I guess, with the
Yeah,
audience.
I think until you feel the connection in the room and you understand what what those songs mean to people, I think that's when it speaks volumes. And I think until you're actually in that moment, then it's hard to, hard to kind of feel what you're going to do. It's like we're on the set, in the set, like some nights we'll be playing one song and the next night we'll be playing the next song. And that's mainly just to keep it fresh for us, but also fresh in case someone comes to two shows, I guess. But I think I've had this conversation with the lads that until we're in those rooms and we see what songs people are vibing off, then we can't really make that call because if everybody's vibing off Losing Streak every night and there's an insane reaction to it, then you can't not play it the next night. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of just got to go with the flow and see what happens, really, I think.
What do you hope lingers then with the audience when they explore the album more than this as a whole?
I think the message behind the record, it's not just a normal rock and roll record, it's a concept record. Um, we have something to say. I think that as musicians, we have a platform to speak out about the things that we feel that we should be talking about in everyday life. So, more than this touches on some very uncomfortable topics. And I think if we can talk about those topics and we can show compassion and love to one another, the world would be a better place. And that's all we're trying to do with this record is show that, love always wins and, that everything will be okay in the end.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the Luka State?
It's just nice to be able to be on a second record, really. Not every band gets to do a second record. They might split up before a second record even comes to fruition. So it's nice. So thank you to those people who supported us, who show us love and come to our shows and buy our tickets and buy our records and stream us online and all that kind of thing. So thank you very much.